Hello, everyone. It's Sonia McDonald here, and thank you for joining today's masterclass called Leadership Attitude. I'm really fond of this masterclass, particularly because it is based on my first book, Leadership Attitude. I couldn't believe this. I was looking at some old photos, and gosh, I can't believe I actually published that book a decade ago. And it was my first book, and I'm so passionate about inspiring everyone to learn more, be more, do more when it comes to leadership and just be great humans. And it's such a great practical read. So thank you for everyone that's part of the lab that's joining the masterclass today. And I'm sure you're loving seeing all the different interviews and resources and tools and gosh, all the great stuff that we have as part of the lab and, the conferences, the interviews. But if you're signing in to the masterclass today and you're just logging in and wanting to be inspired this week around leadership, grab a notebook. Okay, this is one of our great leadership headquarters notebook that everyone gets as part of the lab and our coaching and programs, but you can grab any notebook. Sorry, a few plugs there. But I wanted, you just to grab a notebook, because if you can reflect and write some stuff down around what I'm going to talk about, that would be great. So I am super passionate about this space, and I kind of went down this path in terms of really embracing leadership about, 16 years ago. I kind of fell into this space by accident. Funnily enough, being exposed to the world of leadership all that time ago changed my life. It took me down a path that has made such a difference to my life, my family's life, in particular my daughter, my clients, my friends, my family, and leadership truly matters. And I'm going to take you on a journey today because I think we've made leadership bigger than what it is. And I kind of fell into this space through a conversation. My world had fallen apart overseas. I was living overseas with my daughter. I was in this great human resources leadership role over in Shanghai, China. My world had fallen apart. I came back to Australia. I had to start all over again. I had very little money in the bank, had to move back in with my parents, and it was really challenging for me to find a senior human resources role that would offer me flexibility. Then I applied for this role, right? I think I went for about 40 different interviews. And as soon as I found out I was a full-time solo parent, it was kind of really challenging for me. Thank goodness things have changed, right? Because back then there wasn't a lot of flexibility. And I remember, I think it was interview 41, I had a conversation with someone, and I remember catching the train up to Brisbane, and I remember having this conversation with him, and he said to me, "Do you know much about leadership?" Because we're wanting a trainer and consultant and coach to teach leadership on construction sites, on major project sites. Engineers and superintendents, we want you to work with them. They're great at building stuff, but not so great when it comes to leading people to build it. So I was like, yeah, okay, yep. I kind of faked it a little bit and said, yeah, I know lots about leadership, right? And I took this leap of faith, right? I thought, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to buy every book I could on leadership. I'm going to read. I'm going to research. I started a blog called Leadership HQ. And I had this courage to take this leap of faith and have this courage within myself. But also I needed to put a roof over my daughter and my head, right? To embrace this leadership space, thinking, okay, this is going to be, just a new path and journey in my career. It was unexpected. But the thing is, when I started really researching and learning, and particularly around my own leadership, and then teaching others about leadership and inspiring and helping them be the best versions of themselves and just be great humans, right? It made such a difference. Hence, that's why I'm so passionate when it comes to courage, because it takes a lot of courage to be a leader and to be the best version of yourself. And I love this quote, right? We gain strength and courage and confidence by every experience when we really stop to look fear in the face. We must do that which we think we cannot. And at the time, I don't think I could, but the thing is, I did. And now I'm living and breathing this space for the last 15 years. And we've worked with thousands of people that have really gained strength and courage around opening themselves up to great leadership and great courage, right? So I want to take you on a journey around leadership, because I think if you think about time, I don't know about you, but it's already end of April. It's nearly May. So many people I speak to go, I can't believe how quickly time is going. And so true. Time is going past so quickly. I don't know if you're sitting there, listening, watching this going, yes, it is going past so quickly. And it is, right? And I think it's our greatest resource, time. And I think as well, for me, when I think about time and I think about this whole space of being the best version of myself and being a great leader or being a great human, right? It's about impact. Success to me is significance. It's about making a difference, which I talk about in my book, around significance and success, right, and leadership. Because one of my favorite quotes is, life doesn't give you what you want, life gives you who you are. And for me, it's really important that who I am is a great leader, is a great human, and at times, I think when we talk about leadership, there's followers as well. I've been also, the best follower I could be as well. So how do we go on this journey around creating, a leadership attitude? If you think about this word leadership, I want you to think about, grab your notebook. All right, grab a notebook, write down words that resonate to you when it comes to leader or leadership. It could be, if you think about people that have helped you, have supported you, could be teachers, parents, friends, your managers at work, your colleagues, people that you've seen have been really great leaders. Could be people in the history or current, famous or political leaders, or there's so many people out there that we have in our lives or we see out there that are great leaders. And that's what I want us to focus on, right? Because it's really important that we be the change we want to see. And when we think about leadership, and it could be these leaders inspire us, right? They're visionary. They have conviction. They have courage. They're kind. They're wise. They want the best for us. They're transformational. They're authentic. They're coaches. They're mentors. They're vulnerable. When you think about these words that you really identify when it comes to leadership, I want you to think about who you are, right? When you think about these words, what are in terms of these words, what do you care about? What do you want to stand for, right? Who do you want to be when it comes to thinking about leadership and these words? Because I think we've made leadership bigger than what it is, right? I think we've made leadership about role or title. And I think that's why sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to be great leaders, or in brackets, great followers as well. Because we see it as a title, we see it as a rank, right? We see that it's, I don't have CEO in my title or manager in my title, so therefore I'm not a leader. But leadership isn't about rank or title or role. It's about an attitude. It's about a choice. It's about an action, right? And I think that's really important that we focus on that. We see that leadership is an attitude. If you think about those words you wrote down in that notebook, right? I want you to even ask feedback from people. Start to think about if I've written down these words that I think, when I think about leadership or a leader, these are the words that really resonate to me. Think about those words that really resonate to you in terms of who you are. And therefore we all have that potential within to be leaders, right? So let's not make it bigger than what it is. It's I think about those times where we can make a difference to people. We can lift others up, right? It's so important that we don't make it bigger than what it is, because therefore we're not giving ourselves permission. I want you from now to give yourself permission and to embrace and focus on how you can be a great leader. And look, and I want you to, if you're sitting on this masterclass, listening or watching today, right? I want you to use this mindset. I am a leader. You might be sitting there, feeling a bit cringy here, but put your hand up if you are a leader. The amount of times I actually say that in workshops or when I'm speaking at conferences and events, and sometimes 30% of the room put up their hand, and I get it. Humility is a great aspect of leadership. However, at the end of my leadership masterclasses or my keynotes, I ask the same question at the end, and it's great to see maybe 80 to 90% of people put up their hands. And I go, look, even if it's just one person that didn't put their hand up at the start and then does at the end, that makes my heart sing, because if I can help you all kind of be that ripple effect and walk away from this masterclass today going, you know what, I'm really going to embrace this space. I want to be a great leader. I want to be the best version of you, myself. I want to think about my legacy. I always think about, if I think about that time, like the sand going through the hourglass, right? And the time's going past so quickly. I'm always thinking about my legacy. I'm always thinking about, gosh, I don't know how old I'm going to get to, but I always want to look back on my life and go, I lived it authentically. I was courageous. I was the best version of me most of the time. And I made mistakes a lot of the time, but I forgave myself. I was kind to myself and others. But at the end of the day, I was a leader, right? And I am a leader. So I want you to start using that mindset. So the how and the what and the when, like, man, I could talk about this all day, every day. And there's so much to leadership. And grab the book Leadership Attitude, because it'll give you a lot around the whats and the hows and the whens and things like that. The thing is, the key to it is having a growth mindset, being open to learning about yourself, learning about leadership, because the more you know about yourself, the more you know about others, and start on this journey. And it's scary and it takes courage, right? But by having a learning and growth mindset will change your world, right? So I'm going to start with 4 areas that I think are really important when it comes to leadership. Are you excited? I'm excited. I'm just going to get some water. So there's 4 key areas. And look, my book talks a lot more about leadership attitude than these 4 areas, but I would have you all day if I was covering everything in this book, and also about leadership attitude. First thing is, it is an attitude. It's totally a mindset. I always say to people, change the frame, change the game. If you can change the frame and see that leadership isn't about role or title, it is about this, it's a mindset. It is about focusing on having a great leadership attitude, embracing who you are, really caring about others, being the versions of yourself. It is such an attitude mindset. I love the attitude mindset space. Who sets your attitude? You. I'm also passionate about the neuroscience space when it comes to leadership. So, and I got into neuroscience again by accident. All these things that happen by accident happen for a reason, right? But there's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system. Now, we can take in, they say, like millions of bits of data per second, but the RAS kind of sorts out the data. We can really only take in 7 units, give or take a few units, but the RAS sorts out those units to help us determine those 7 units, what we want to focus on. It's like when you buy a car and you decide to buy whatever car you decide to buy. It could be a Hyundai or a Nissan or BMW. And then you're out on the road, or you're walking down the road and you see that car everywhere. I know many of us have experienced that. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes, that's the RAS. We might not even be conscious of it. We could just go, why is there so many Hyundai Tucsons out there, or BMWs, or whatever car you've decided on? You see them more often than not. The thing is, if you set your attitude to being, I want to focus on being a great leader, or being the best leader I can, best version of myself, being a great human, acting with courage and integrity and conviction and serving others. And, I think that, whatever leadership means to you, whatever you stand for, because we're all very different. If you have that leadership focus and attitude, attention goes, energy flows, right? So number 1 is to have the attitude, have your focus on how you can be a great leader. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. So absolutely focus on a leadership attitude, a positive attitude, be grateful. I think these are so many different keys. I could talk about them all day, every day around attitude and neuroscience, but reach out to us. We've got a great neuroscience book as part of the lab membership, but we also have it on my website, soniamcdonald.com.au. It's a great I think it's not very much to download, but it's filled with great neuroscience articles and information. The number 2 is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the key to leadership. I mentioned before that the more self-aware you are of yourself, the more self-aware you are of others. So it's so important that you start to be self-aware. Again, scary, uncomfortable. Get to know yourself. Get to know your values. We've got a great values resource as part of the lab, or reach out to us at Leadership HQ if you'd love that tool. Know your values, espouse them, stand by them, make decisions by them. We've got our top 5 values as well. I have my values. Again, I reflect on them every day. Am I aligned to them? Was I leading them? Sometimes, again, I'm not perfect. Focus on your strengths. Get to know your strengths. I'm a bit of a fan of Gallup Strengths Finder. Ask for feedback. Do any diagnostics. We've got a great neuroscience one, but there's plenty out there like LSI, DISC, Myers-Briggs. As I mentioned before, ask for feedback. You can do 360s around that as well. Get to know your triggers. Get to know those things that you're not so great at as well. Surround yourself with people that are great at things that you're not great at. Find out what you're passionate about. Self-awareness is really, really key. Good. And I actually think it's a journey. I don't think any of us are fully self-aware. We're always evolving, but self-awareness is so important when it comes to leadership. I love this quote. I think self-awareness is probably the most important thing towards being a champion. And also embracing your imperfections as well, I think, is really key, and that we're not perfect as leaders. I can tell you that right now. Okay, number 3, leadership is totally and completely and utterly about others. So many times I work with leaders, traditional, like I got the role as leader, and they get into and they feel that they get into this role of leader manager and they've made it. I've got the role, I've got the title, I'm a leader, and it's about them, right? It's about their ego. Hey, look, and I'm all about success and opportunities and, like getting those roles or titles. But the thing is, the greatest leaders by far that I work with see that leadership is a huge responsibility, even without the title. If you have got the title, probably even more so, because you are serving others, right? You're taking care of others, you're inspiring others, you're coaching them. You're helping them be the best version they can be. You're helping them be leaders. One of the greatest things you can do is build future leaders. Leadership's so much about others. It's about being kind to others, showing compassion and empathy to others. So make sure that you always see that it is about others. I love this. Is actually, I think this is my favorite quote. If your actions inspire others to do more, inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. It's totally about others. If you can follow this ethos of leadership and make it about others, you'll like the legacy that you will leave and the difference that you'll make on this to this world will be outstanding. And finally, okay, so we've talked about it's an attitude. We've talked about self-awareness. We've talked about it's about others. And finally, you know that we love this around kindness. So much great research around the difference that kind and compassionate leaders and leadership makes. Kindness is so important. And if you go and look at some of our blogs, if you look at Amy Cuddy's work, if you look at Oxford University's work, if you Google, I put up just a recent post about that on Your Leadership Coach on LinkedIn, that I put up a newsletter around even the smallest acts can make a big difference. And I talked about kindness and the research around that kindness builds trust, and trust is everything. And if you have trust as a leader, if you're in that role or title, what a difference trust makes. You can still be strong as a leader and be kind. It shows that people are more successful when they're kind, and we're talking about self-kindness and being kind to others. They're more motivated. I could share so many stories around the difference kindness makes as a leader in our leadership. This is why we've got our leadership awards, because we want to champion kind and courageous leaders and leadership. Our nominations are closing for that soon too, so make sure you jump in and nominate. It's so important, this kindness space, and it'll make such a difference in your leadership if you can be kind. It starts with you though. I think that people think that kindness is more of an outer external thing, which it absolutely is. Compassion and gratitude and empathy and kindness totally are. But when you practice self-kindness, which helps you get to courage, by the way, if you practice that self-compassion, that empathy, I think that you'll find that you'll be able to embrace and really lead courage and kindness more so externally and out there to others. So every moment I get, I'm always thinking with my interactions, how can I be kind, right? It's so important. Okay, so that's mine in terms of having a leadership attitude. Have a kind leadership attitude, and it'll make such a difference. And there's so many ways that you can be kind. Just asking people how you can help them. How can I help you? Sending them thank you cards, being present, actively listening, supporting others, celebrating other people's success and wins and achievements. Anyway, there's lots of different ways that you can be kind. But it does start with you, because it's really important that you talk to yourself like you would someone you love. All right. So, yeah, that's my leadership attitude masterclass today. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you could put into action, because it's really important that you put this stuff into action. And also a huge thank you for being part of this masterclass today. I always feel incredibly grateful and blessed and honored to be part of anyone and everyone's journey around embracing this space, because it's so important. Grab the book. All right. I talk about a lot of, I'm very good with this, am I? I talk about a lot more in this book around leadership attitude, a lot about brain stuff, a lot around focusing on your strengths, around confidence, around courage, around leadership presence, balance, passion, feedback, importance of building a tribe and networking, empowering others, never stop learning. Also, I mentioned before around significance and success. Being the leader you want to be, how we can lead our world, because I'm incredibly passionate also about inclusion and diversity. This will make such a difference. So make sure you grab the book. If there's anything we can do to help at Leadership HQ, please reach out to us. I hope you're loving the lab. If you haven't signed up to the lab, make sure you do. It's a fantastic membership with so much amazing value. But if you want to find out more about us, just look at our blogs. We've got some incredible blogs. They're award-winning. Find out more about our leadership programs, our coaching. We've also got an online self-paced leadership program that absolutely rocks. We've got our leadership awards. We've got conferences and events. Got our Courage Conference. Please sign up for that. Early bird tickets are going to be closing soon. It's only something like $147. Excuse me, a bit of a cough today. So thank you so much for joining my masterclass today. Remember, leadership is an attitude. You set your attitude. And thank you again. And please reach out to the team and I if we can help in any way. Remember, stay kind and courageous.